The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for more than 5,000 years. It stretched across half the galaxy and believed nothing could ever threaten it again. From their shining capital world, billions of citizens lived under the calm, confident belief that the Empire was eternal. No war, no rebellion, no fear. That belief ended the day a strange signal appeared from deep space. The impossible signal, on the Imperial Science Station Vathor 9. A young analyst named Velcor was monitoring deep space transmissions. It was a quiet job. The outer sectors were empty and silent, but suddenly his console blinked with a soft, repeating pulse. He frowned and leaned closer. The signal was faint but regular, like a heartbeat. When he ran it through translation software, the result made no sense. Ancient Earth characters, human language, and encryption protocols that had not been used for centuries. Belcor's three-fingered hands trembled. This can't be real, he whispered. He double-checked the data, then called his superior. Within minutes, the command center was crowded with officers staring at the repeating message on the screen. ESS Leviathan, requesting identification. Earth Command respond. The room went silent. Everyone knew the name Earth. It was not a place spoken of openly anymore. 6 centuries ago, the humans had fought the Empire during the Great Cleansing War, a short but terrifying conflict. Records said humanity had been completely destroyed. Their worlds were reduced to dust, and yet here was a living transmission using their codes, the Emperor's concern. The message reached the Imperial capital within hours. The Emperor himself listened to the recording in his crystal-walled throne chamber. Around him, ministers and admirals stood stiffly, waiting for orders. The Emperor's voice was calm but cold. Where was this signal detected? From Sector 9X47, your radiance, an admiral replied. A region marked as forbidden space. No ship has entered it for over 1,000 years. The Emperor studied the faint hologram of the signal pattern. And you are certain it is Terran in origin? Yes, your radiance. The encryption is identical to Terran Military Code 0. A long silence followed. Everyone knew what that meant. Only the highest level of human military command could have used that code. Finally, the Emperor nodded. Send a reconnaissance fleet. I want to know what exists in that void. If humans truly remain, we must see them with our own eyes. The expedition, 3 weeks later, a fleet of 20 ships entered Sector 9X47. Leading them was Admiral Zaroth, a tall reptilian officer known for his discipline and pride. His flagship, Imperial Glory, was one of the Empire's finest dreadnoughts. From the bridge, Zaroth looked out at the strange emptiness ahead. The sector contained no stars, no planets, only black space filled with thin silver mist. Strange, said his second-in-command, Commander Tarala, a sleek-skinned avianoid. Sensors show no gravitational points, no radiation, nothing, Zaroth grunted. Nothing does not exist. Something hides here. The fleet moved deeper into the void. Then, without warning, the mist began to swirl. Lights flickered across the scanners. Space itself bent slightly like ripples on water. Admiral, cried the sensor officer. A massive distortion ahead. Power readings off the scale. The arrival of the Leviathan. Before anyone could react, the distortion exploded in a silent flash. A colossal shadow appeared where nothing had existed a moment before. As the light faded, the fleet saw it clearly. A ship so vast it dwarfed even the largest dreadnoughts. Its hull was smooth and dark, marked by faint blue lines that glowed like veins. At its center, one word was carved in white letters, ESS Leviathan. The bridge of Imperial Glory fell completely silent. Trala whispered, It's human. It's their design. Every sensor focused on the mysterious ship, but the readings made no sense. The Leviathan's energy output was infinite. The computers could not calculate it. The ship seemed to absorb radar waves instead of reflecting them. Then across the communication channel, a calm human voice spoke. Unknown vessels detected. You are trespassing in restricted Terran space. Identify yourselves immediately. Zaroth exchanged a glance with Tarala. Restricted Terran space? The humans had no territory left. At least that was what history said. He replied sharply. This is Admiral Zaroth of the Galactic Empire. Humanity was destroyed centuries ago. State your true origin. A brief pause followed. Then the voice answered, smooth and emotionless. Incorrect, Admiral. Humanity endures. First contact, every officer on the bridge froze. Zaroth's claws tapped the armrest. "Send a full scan," he ordered. But as soon as his technicians activated the scanners, their consoles went dark. Sparks flashed. Systems failed. The Imperial Glory's main display filled with static. "Admiral, we've lost all sensors," cried an engineer. "Something is blocking or rewriting our systems." "Impossible. No ship can—" He stopped mid-sentence when the Leviathan's hull shimmered and changed color, turning completely invisible for a moment before fading back into sight. Tralla spoke softly, awe in her voice. "They are bending light itself. The Empire trembles back on the capital world. News of the Leviathan reached the Imperial Council. Panic spread quietly through the ranks of the elite. Old scholars were summoned, ancient data retrieved. Every record told the same story. Humans were dangerous not because of power, but because of imagination. They had created weapons, machines, and ideas the Empire had never understood. Even when cornered, they had fought in ways no other species could predict. If this Leviathan was proof that humans had survived, then the Empire was facing something beyond logic. The message suddenly. A new transmission arrived, this time directed to all Imperial ships simultaneously. It was a data burst containing a single video file. The file opened on every screen aboard the Imperial Glory. It showed a vast chamber filled with old Earth technology, panels of blinking lights and a flag showing a blue and white globe. A human figure stood at the center, his face hidden by a visor. He spoke in calm, measured tones. "To the forces of the Galactic Empire, centuries ago you declared humanity extinct. You erased our worlds and names from your maps. You were wrong. We survived beyond your borders, and we have watched you repeat the same mistakes." The voice paused, then continued. "We do not seek revenge. We seek warning. Do not approach Earth again. Leave the Sol sector untouched." Then the image vanished. For several seconds, no one moved. Zaroth stared at the empty screen. "A warning?" he muttered. "They threaten the Empire?" But deep down, even he felt a trace of fear. Power beyond measure, the Leviathan began to move. It turned slowly, revealing engines that glowed brighter than stars. As it drifted past the Imperial fleet, all ships trembled slightly as if caught in a soft gravitational wave. "Admiral," Tralla said, "the ship isn't producing any exhaust or energy signature. How is it moving?" "I don't know," he admitted. "It's as if it's rewriting physics itself." When one of the smaller Imperial scouts tried to move closer, its navigation systems failed completely. The tiny ship drifted helplessly until the Leviathan's hull emitted a faint pulse of blue light. Instantly, the scout regained power, gently pushed away from the human vessel. It was not an attack. It was a demonstration. The voice of the Leviathan. Then once again the human voice spoke across all frequencies. "Admiral Zaroth of the Galactic Empire. We remember your ancestors. They called us primitive, chaotic, unfit for the stars. They were wrong. We built what they feared. We became what they could never understand. And now we ask only for distance. Leave us in peace." Zaroth tried to speak, but his words failed. Every instinct told him to retreat, yet his pride would not allow it. He finally managed to answer, "If you are truly human, then prove your intentions. What do you want from the Empire?" The reply came after a moment of silence. "Nothing. Only that you remember this. Humanity does not forget." A flash of light suddenly, the Leviathan's center glowed. A bright blue sphere formed within its hull. Quiet, calm, beautiful. "Admiral," shouted Tralla. "Energy surge." "It's enormous." "Shields up," Zaroth commanded. But there was no attack. Instead, a gentle wave of light swept over the Imperial fleet. For a few seconds, every ship's power dimmed to zero. Gravity stabilizers, engines, and weapons all shut down. And then, just as suddenly, everything returned to normal. The Leviathan was gone. No explosion. No trace. Only the fading echo of its presence on the sensors, a ripple of space, slowly fading into silence. On every Imperial ship, the communication panel flickered once more, showing a final short message. "Earth remembers." Aftermath. When the fleet returned home, the Emperor listened to Admiral Zaroth's report in grim silence. The ship displayed technology beyond comprehension. Zaroth explained, "It disabled our systems without harm. communicated through our barriers and vanished at will. It claimed to represent surviving humans. The Emperor sat motionless for a long time. Then he turned to his council. For centuries we called them extinct. If they are alive, then they have surpassed us. He rose slowly from his throne. His reflection shimmered in the golden floor. Prepare for the worst, because if Earth remembers, it also prepares. End of Part 1. The mysterious Leviathan had appeared and vanished without a battle. Yet its presence left the entire galactic empire trembling. No one knew where it had gone or how many more like it existed. But across the empire's countless worlds, a single rumor spread like wildfire among citizens, traders, and soldiers alike. Silence filled the grand chambers of the galactic empire. It had been 6 months since the appearance of the mysterious human ship, ESS Leviathan. Yet, its memory still haunted the galaxy. Every admiral, every emperor, every civilian had heard the same final message from that ship. Earth remembers. Those 2 words spread faster than any fleet. They echoed through spaceports, across trade routes, and inside the private halls of power. The once proud empire now carried a shadow of fear, the fear of something that should have been extinct. The Emperor's decision, in the glittering palace of the capital world Corellian, the Emperor gathered his high command. Around a long crystal table sat the Empire's greatest minds, admirals, scientists, and ministers. The Emperor's scaled hands rested calmly on the table, but his golden eyes burned with unease. 6 centuries ago, he began, we believed we ended the human threat. We were wrong. If a single ship survived, others may too. We cannot live under this uncertainty. An admiral bowed. Your Radiance, our fleets are strong. Should we not act first? Seek them out before they come to us? The Emperor nodded slowly. Yes, we will find their world, this Earth, and ensure they cannot threaten the galaxy again. But another voice spoke, cautious and quiet. It was Admiral Zaroth, the one who had faced the Leviathan. Your Radiance, with respect. That ship could disable entire fleets without effort. To challenge such power may bring ruin to us all. The Emperor's gaze turned cold. And yet you live, Admiral. That means they chose not to destroy you, which means they can be found. He raised a hand. Send our scouts. Search the forgotten sectors near Sol. Find Earth. The order was given. The greatest search in Imperial history had begun. The search for Earth across hundreds of systems. Imperial fleets began scanning deep space. Old archives were reopened. Ancient maps, once sealed and erased, were restored. The Sol sector, once the cradle of humanity, was rediscovered. It lay beyond a cluster of unstable wormholes surrounded by gravitational storms. No ship had entered for centuries. Many scouts were sent. Most never returned. Those who did came back shaken, whispering strange stories. Space folding in impossible shapes. Ghost signals repeating old Earth songs. And enormous shadows moving silently between stars. Soon, rumors spread through the Imperial Navy. Some said the humans had built a shield around their world. Others claimed they lived within hidden dimensions. No one knew the truth, but one commander, Tarala, volunteered to lead the main expedition. Commander Tarala's mission. Commander Tarala stood on the bridge of her ship, Radiant Spear, watching the swirling patterns of the wormhole that led into the Sol sector. She was calm but tense. Activate stabilization field, she ordered. We go in slow. The stars twisted into long lines of light as the fleet crossed the wormhole. When they emerged, the sensors filled with readings so strange that her technicians gasped. Commander, there are thousands of power signatures ahead. Huge ones. Show me. The screen came alive, sir, and everyone on the bridge fell silent. Before them stretched an entire armada. Massive dark ships hung motionless around a small blue planet. Their hulls gleamed faintly under sunlight. Each one looked like the Leviathan, sleek, seamless, and alive. There were hundreds. No, thousands of them, and in their center, glowing softly like a jewel, was Earth. The human fleet, Tarala whispered. They didn't just survive. They rebuilt everything. The sensors crackled with interference. Then, through the static, a calm voice spoke. The same voice that had haunted the Empire for months. Imperial vessels, you have entered restricted Terran space. Turn back immediately. Tarala took a deep breath and opened the communication channel. This is Commander Tarala of the Galactic Empire. We come seeking peace and understanding. There was silence. Then the voice answered, Peace is achieved through respect of boundaries. You have crossed ours, Tarala hesitated. We only wish to speak, to learn the truth. The voice softened slightly. Then listen. The voice of humanity. The transmission changed. A hologram appeared on the bridge. The same faceless figure from the Leviathan standing against the backdrop of a silver chamber. When the Empire hunted humanity, we escaped beyond your maps. We built our world again in silence. For centuries we watched from the dark, waiting to see if the galaxy had learned from its past. He paused. We hoped you had. But the first thing your Emperor did after seeing us was send fleets. The bridge crew exchanged uneasy glances. You see, we no longer build weapons. We build defense. The Leviathan you saw was not a warship. It was a guardian, a warning. The hologram looked directly at Terala. We do not seek war, but we will never allow what happened before to happen again. Then the hologram vanished. The Emperor's shadow while Terala's fleet was deep within the Sol sector. The Emperor watched her mission from afar through a secure channel. He had sent another fleet secretly, one commanded by Grand Admiral Kareth, a loyal servant known for aggression. Kareth's orders were simple. If Terala fails to act, destroy the human defenses. And so, hidden just beyond the Sol system, Kareth's fleet waited. Return of the Leviathan back near Earth. Terala stood quietly on the bridge looking at the beautiful blue planet shining in the distance. She could see its clouds, its oceans, a world alive and peaceful. Her heart, though alien, felt something she couldn't describe. Perhaps admiration. Perhaps guilt. Suddenly the space beside her fleet rippled. A large silhouette appeared and the ESS Leviathan had returned. It drifted forward, silent and majestic. Its surface shimmered like glass. The same voice spoke again. Commander Terala, you stand before our home. Why do you hesitate? She replied softly. Because I don't want to repeat the mistakes of our past. I believe peace is still possible. There was a pause. Then to her surprise the voice replied gently, Perhaps it is. But before more could be said, a new signal interrupted the transmission. Loud, harsh, and unmistakably imperial. This is Grand Admiral Kareth. All ships prepare to engage targets. Terala's eyes widened in shock. No, stand down. The moment of choice. The Leviathan moved instantly, placing itself between Earth and the incoming fleet. Its immense hull blocked the planet like a guardian wall. Kareth's ships powered their weapons, but before any action, a deep, calm voice filled every channel. Do not do this, it was the Leviathan again. Its tone was firm, not angry one, but filled with authority. We have the ability to end this confrontation without harm. Choose wisely. Kareth ignored the warning. His fleet advanced. Terala's crew looked at her desperately. Commander, what do we do? Terala closed her eyes. We stand down. A light in the sky as Kareth's ships moved closer. A strange glow appeared around the Leviathan. The space around it bent and shimmered like heat above sand. Then suddenly, every Imperial system froze. Engines, shields, and communication panels all stopped. No explosion. No attack, just silence and light, Terala stared in awe. They've stopped time for us, she whispered. A moment later, the light faded and the Leviathan spoke again. We mean no harm, but we will not let you bring harm here. Then it turned slightly and the energy field spread outward, gently pushing Kareth's ships backward. One by one, they drifted away from Earth's orbit, their systems reactivating only when they were far enough. The conversation. Once the fleets were safe, Terala opened a private channel to the Leviathan. You could have destroyed us. Why didn't you? The voice replied calmly. Because destruction teaches nothing. The galaxy already knows too much of fear. We wish to remind it of choice. Terala listened in silence. Your empire still thinks power is control. The voice continued. But true strength is peace. Peace through understanding. That is what humanity learned when it nearly vanished. Terala felt her chest tighten. Then what will you do now? We will watch. And we will wait. If the galaxy seeks peace, we will help. If it seeks domination, we will remember. The transmission ended. Return to the Empire. When Terala's fleet finally returned home, the Emperor awaited her report. He listened quietly as she told the full story. The human armada, the Leviathan's actions, and the strange, peaceful warning. When she finished, the Emperor stood silently, deep in thought. They could have destroyed you all, he said at last. Yes, Terala replied softly. But they didn't. They chose peace. The Emperor turned to the window, watching the stars outside. "Perhaps," he murmured, "that is why they still endure, and why we still fear them." He dismissed her, but his mind remained troubled. The might of the Empire suddenly felt small compared to the quiet confidence of humanity. Whispers across the galaxy word spread quickly. Traders, explorers, and smugglers all shared tales of the human fleet. Some said they could move through dimensions. Others said they could speak through thoughts, but all stories ended with the same message. The humans are alive, and they are watching. Across every planet, the phrase Earth remembers became a quiet warning, not of danger, but of balance. The galaxy began to change slowly. Empires grew cautious and small worlds found courage. Even without lifting a weapon, humanity had reshaped the stars once again. The Leviathans returned to the void far away. Near the blue planet called Earth, the Leviathan floated silently. It orbited high above the world it had sworn to protect. Its surface shimmered under sunlight. The captain smiled faintly. "Then we'll be ready. But next,